Good morning. Today we are looking at Genesis chapter 42. And as always, I encourage you to read this chapter personally because it shows conviction of sin, the beginning of reconciliation, and how God uses circumstances to bring hearts to repentance. In verses 1 through 5, Jacob hears that there is grain in Egypt, and he sends his son to buy food. The famine has reached Canaan, forcing them to go to the very place where Joseph now has authority. This is not a coincidence. God is bringing them face to face with their past. In verses 6 through 8, the brothers arrive and bow before Joseph, fulfilling the very dream Joseph had years earlier. They did not recognize him, of course. Joseph, however, knows exactly who they are. The roles have been completely reversed from his younger age. The one they rejected now stands in authority over them. In verses 9 through 14, Joseph remembers his dreams and speaks harshly to them, accusing them of being spies. This may seem surprising, but Joseph is not acting out of revenge. He's testing them. He's bringing them into a position where their hearts will ultimately be revealed. In verses 15 through 20, Joseph demands that they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin, as proof of their honesty. He keeps Simeon bound and sends the rest back with grain. This creates pressure that forces the brothers to confront their past. In verses 21 through 24, we see the key turning point. The brothers speak among themselves, saying, "We are very guilty concerning our brother." They connect their current trouble to what they did to Joseph years earlier. This is conviction. For the first time, they acknowledge their sin. Joseph hears this and is moved to tears, though he remains hidden from them. In verses 25 through 28, Joseph returns their money in their sacks, along with the grain. When they discover, they are afraid, saying, "What is this that God has done unto us?" Their fear shows that their conscience is awakening. They begin to recognize that God is involved in their situation. In verses 29 through 34, the brothers return to Jacob and explain everything, fearing the loss of Benjamin as well. The weight of the past action is now affecting the entire family. In verses 35 through 38, as they empty their sacks, they find the money, and man, are they afraid. Jacob refuses to send Benjamin, saying that Joseph is gone, Simeon is gone, and he cannot risk losing another son. The chapter ends with tension unresolved, but hearts are beginning to change. This chapter teaches us that God often uses these difficult circumstances to bring conviction and repentance. What the brothers tried to bury years earlier is now being brought to the surface. God is not punishing them without purpose. He's leading them toward restoration. We can see how this passage points us to Christ, just as Joseph's brothers were brought to facing their sin before reconciliation could happen. This passage points us to Christ, just as Joseph's brothers were brought to face their sin before reconciliation could happen. We must recognize our sin before we even receive forgiveness. Christ provides that forgiveness, but it honestly begins with honest acknowledgement that you are a sinner. Today, allow God to search your heart. If there's something in the past that has not been dealt with, do not ignore it. Bring it before God, confess it, and trust that He is working not to condemn you, but to restore you. God bless.